Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I have 40 winter Dollar Tree DIYs for you from the Crafty Vault, and I really hope you enjoy today's video. First, we're going to use two of these little signs from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make a tray. The second part, we're going to make a really beautiful vase arrangement for winter. Now, they have these, I know, in white, maybe black, and this wood color. I'm choosing the wood color because it kind of matches what's on the sides, and it's going to go with that warm stained wood finish that I'm going with today. But most of the top of the sign is going to be covered in snow anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter which ones you're going to get. But I just went ahead and glued them end to end. I just used hot glue. I'm going to have a couple other things that's going to kind of combine it together there. So I'm not really going to brace it or anything like that. I think it'll be okay. I just made sure to get it good and lined up and to glue it flat. Now I wanted to do like a border around the edge of the tray, and I love using these little cube wood beads from the Dollar Tree for that, just because they're going to sit flat when you go to do like a beaded edge. So it's going to take 2 strands of these. You could always do them with the round ones too if that's all you had, but I really like the look of the cube. So I usually try to use those if I can. And I want to stain them. They are natural wood. So I'm just going to take some Antique Wax by Waverly and a baby wipe, and then I'm just going to kind of try to stain these. I was trying to think if I should leave them all attached. I usually do when I'm working with a project like this, but one thing I noticed is when I went to stain them like this, they are like a cube shape, right? It's not really getting in between them where it kind of goes down on the sides, kind of like a dice shape. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to leave them all attached, but I just went ahead. I'm going to stain all 4 sides of our cubes like this. And the reason that I'm using a baby wipe is I don't want it to be a really dark stain. Sometimes Antique Wax by Waverly can get pretty dark. I'm kind of going for the same finish wood that tray is that we're going to make. So I just go ahead and stain them all this way. I do try a different technique on the second one, but this way was actually the easiest way to do it. So I went ahead and took them all off the string because I did realize, that they're not getting stained on the sides or in all the little corners this thing has. So I'm just going to have to go in with a baby wipe and little messy, but use some Antique Wax by Waverly and we can stain all of them. I was trying to avoid doing them one by one like this, but you know what? It does work the best. And I'm going to line all 4 sides of that tray with these little cube wood beads, and it turned out really cute. Just a matter of getting all these little guys stained. So I just go in and do both sides. They are kind of have holes in them, but if you get them all going the same way, you're not really going to see that except for a few pieces on the ends. So that's our first strand. And then I was thinking, I know when you're painting wood beads, it's sometimes easier just to put it in a cup or a bowl and just dip them all in there, right? So I was like, you know what? That'd probably be easier than I wouldn't have to go in with a baby wipe on each one of the little cubes. So I took a little water and some Antique Wax by Waverly, and I just gonna grab all of those beads and pop them in there. What I noticed is it didn't really stain it as dark as I needed to. And then you're going to have really wet beads that you do have to kind of let dry. When you're using the baby wipe, you're really not getting them that wet. They dry really quickly. So even though I added more Antique Wax by Waverly a couple times, I really just couldn't get them stained as good this way. It must be because I had to add some water to that. But I tried that method. It didn't really work out as well as I'd hoped. But I'm just going to kind of take them all out now, drain them on a paper towel. And you can see, they did stain a little bit. They're just not going to quite match the ones that I've already done. If I hadn't already done the other half, I probably would have kind of left them like this. But I was like, you know what? They're going to require a little bit more stain. So that was my first attempt. And they did, again, get really wet where I did have to wait because they didn't really want to glue down or anything like that. So I just went back to my old tried and true method. I put some more Antique Wax by Waverly on a baby wipe and just went in and stained each one of those a little bit darker, just so they're going to match the other set of wood beads. And 2 strands was the perfect size for this tray, using 2 of those signs. I think I ended up with 2 wood beads left over in the end. So I've got them all stained. They're all fairly the same finish now, so we can start putting this together. Now, since I did take them off the string, I am going to have to kind of glue them on individually. I did think about stringing them back together for this part because it is easier when they're tied together. I've made projects similar to this where I've made the wood beads like be in the middle of trays and stuff like that. And it's so easy to string them and glue them when they're tied together. But I was like, I'll just do like half a sign at a time and do some hot glue and just lay them all on there. That way I can kind of space them out. And I'm going to have one be right there at the border between the 2 different signs. And that will kind of help hold it together a tiny bit. And glue these all the way over to the side. I did have to space them out a little bit just to make sure that they all fit, but we got one side done and that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and start here on the other side, and I'm just going to repeat that same pattern, the same number of them, and just gluing a little bit at a time, trying to make sure that my hot glue was not setting up before I got them all covered. And I wanted to do just like a woodsy tray for this, and I couldn't really find anything that I wanted. So if you can't find it, you can just DIY it. So we have 2 edges done. And even though you see like that joint in there in the middle, once you get things on your tray, you're not going to be able to see that. And it actually just turned out really cute. For the sides, I went ahead and laid them out in advance so I know exactly how many would fit. And that was a total of 6. And so I'm just going to glue down 6 to each side, trying to kind of evenly space them. And again, I have like all of the holes like facing each other, kind of like they were still like lined up, so that all the pretty sides are the ones you can see. Now, once I got those all glued on, I'm just going to go ahead and flip our tray over and just remove the tags here on the bottom. I thought since we have some leftover wood beads and they're cube shape, they'd make perfect little feet for this tray. At first, I wasn't going to do feet for it, but I'm glad that I did because this did kind of like perch it up a little bit and just made a perfect winter display for the vases that we're getting ready to do. So I'm just going to hot glue one in each corner right over here, not quite all the way to the edge, but pretty close. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side. And then since I have 2 signs together, I thought it'd be a good idea and extra sturdy to put a foot in the middle on the front and the back too. And that'll be another little thing helping to hold that all together. But it seems like it's pretty sturdy. I don't think I have anything to worry about. And there's our little tray. I think it turned out so cute. I'm not going to do any handles or anything on the side. I don't think it really needs anything. And then these are the vases that I got. They're little frosted bottles with corks. And I picked these up at Dollar Tree. I thought these were really cool. If you can't find them, you can frost your own glass. And we are going to be doing that today because I think it looks extra wintry having the frosted glass. And so if you can't find them, it's pretty easy to kind of recreate these. But they're a nice small size bottle. I'm not really going to need the corks on them. But I thought 3 of them would be really pretty on this tray. We could line them all up right next to each other and then put some Dollar Tree florals inside to make it look nice and wintry. Isn't that texture really cool? So let's go ahead and get started on these. I was thinking I can just kind of glue them all down or push them all down into like snow or something like that in the tray. And I want to be able to reuse the tray. So I'm just going to kind of put them all in the snow. And then this is the eucalyptus that I got at Dollar Tree. I got a total of 5. I really wanted 6, but I could only find 5. So we're going to make it work, even though I have 3 of the vases. So I thought I could do like one entire piece in each one, and then we'll kind of break up the other ones and kind of split them around. Now for the filler here in our little frosted jars, I'm just going to use some Dollar Tree white sand. I think that makes a great sand or snow substitute. I'm completely out of the Dollar Tree snow. And so I was trying to find other things to make snow with today, and I found some really great things to do that with. So I already had some here in a baggie from a previous DIY. So I found these little craft funnels at the Dollar Tree, and I use them all the time for sand and projects like this. But you can always just cut a corner off the bag like I did there and pretty much do the same thing, but it does make keeping your work surface a little bit cleaner. And I'm just going to fill each one of the vases up about a third of the way. I didn't want to take too much away from the frosting. I wanted you to be able to see that, but I wanted enough of the sand that I could use it to arrange the flowers in, or the eucalyptus. So I lined them all up side by side so we could kind of keep the amount of sand even on those. And then we can go ahead and start taking the tags off of all this sparkly eucalyptus. I love these. They have these every year at Dollar Tree. They're white. They have glitter on them. I think they look really nice and icy for winter. And they're just about the perfect height. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm trying to pick out my very best ones to be the main piece in each one. And then the other ones we can kind of cut up and fill in. So that's what it looks like with one. You probably could get away with one if you needed to. And I'm just using my little floral scissors from the Dollar Tree and trimming these all down as long as I can get them. And I probably could have done with a little bit more sand in my jars, but we're going to make it work. So I just start taking them individually and kind of filling them in. These pieces are going to be a little bit shorter, just going to kind of help fill everything out. And I kind of compare them to each other, and I'm trying to create about the same fullness in each one of the vases. And I end up using every single one of them. And I love these. Aren't these so pretty? They're definitely one of my favorite florals they have for winter time at the Dollar Tree. Now that looks pretty good. We can go ahead and start putting the little tray together. I wanted to like kind of just stack them side by side in there, but I also want it to look snowy and wintry. So that's why we're also going to add some faux snow. Now, I thought about gluing them down, but then I wanted to reuse the tray, so I decided just to sit them all in there, just like that. But I wanted to sit them in there first before I added the snow. That way they're nice and flat against the bottom of the tray. Now, I had heard that Epsom salt makes great snow, so I just have some Epsom salt that I stole from the medicine cabinet, and we're going to use that for DIYs today, and this made fabulous snow. I loved it. So I just put a little cup in my Epsom salt there so I could kind of scoop it out, pour it in the tray exactly where I wanted, and I'm just going to fill up the entire tray with the Epsom salt for our faux snow. That way I have the contrast of like that stained wood against the white snow. We're going to have the frosted vases that are going to look like they're very cold. And then the icy white glittery eucalyptus looks like it's covered in ice. Then I thought I kind of wanted to add like a snowflake touch. So I got some ornaments from the Dollar Tree. One is a 2-pack, one is a 10-pack. Now, they're about the same size. I guess the 2-packs are like a little bit better quality, but I want my snowflakes to be different, so I'm going to mix and match. I'm going to use one of the 2-pack and 2 of the 10-pack, and I thought I could do one of the little white glitter snowflakes for each one of the vases. I was trying to decide if I should tie it onto the bottle, and then I decided I would just tack them with glue onto the sides of the bottle. This one ornament, the one that came in the 2-pack, does have a hole. So I did want to fill that in, and it was actually pretty easy. I just put a little hot glue and some extra Epsom salt in there, and it filled up really nicely. The other 2 snowflakes didn't really have an obvious hole that I needed to fill, so that was a little bit of a time saver. And they're pretty lightweight little ornaments from the Dollar Tree, so I'm just going to do a little hot glue right in the center, and then just tack them onto the side of our frosted glass. And I'm really glad that I decided to add the snowflakes to this because it took it from like pretty to like wow pretty, and quite a statement piece for winter. And I love this because I can leave it up all winter. because it's always so sad when you take down all your Christmas decorations and you still want like some winter decor. So I just did that on all 3 of them, just glued them to the front, and this is how it turned out. Our little winter vases with the white glitter eucalyptus. We have little white glitter snowflakes on the front of each one, and a bed of Epsom salt snow on a DIY tray. Isn't that tray so cute? I thought it looked very like rustic or farmhouse, and I really had fun putting that one together. If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We are so close to 50,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it if you would hype today's video. We're going to use one of these Christmas ornaments from the Dollar Tree, one of these vases from the Dollar Tree, one of these little battery-operated LED lanterns from the Dollar Tree, and some Dollar Tree, a white rope. This is the 11-foot nautical rope cotton, and I wanted to make, I've seen lots of people make the little light post DIYs, but I wanted to do my own take on it. So we're going to make ours into a lighthouse. I think that's going to be cool, but I'm also going to do a winter theme for it. So just getting my rope ready, I'm going to use one of these little snowy wreath ornaments from the Dollar Tree. If you wanted to use this lighthouse year-round, you could skip this step, but I'm doing this to make it look like there's snow at the bottom of the lighthouse. So just using hot glue to remove all of the ribbon and decor that was on there, and this fits in there perfectly, just like that. Now I'm going to start with the rope. I'm going to, if you wanted not to have the snow, you would start at the very bottom of the wreath, but I'm going to start a little bit further up where it meets with the snowy bottom. So I'm going to kind of glue it to the vase and to the ornament that's down below with hot glue. And I'm going to use a lot of hot glue to glue it all the way around. So once I get hot glue on there, I'm just going to start wrapping this. And I wanted this vase to be thicker, so it would be like the same size as the lantern that we're going to put on top to make the lighthouse. And I thought rope would be a perfect way to add some more width to the piece. And so I'm just going to hot glue all around. Normally I would just wrap something and I wouldn't use as much hot glue. But since this was glass, I didn't really want the rope to slide around. And so I want it to be, you know, no like openings in between the different layers of rope. And I wanted to stay in place on the vase. I found that this piece was heavy enough. It's not like, not tipping over or anything like that. But you could always put some beans or rice inside of it to weigh it down as well if you're worried about yours tipping over. But I found that the glass was pretty heavy enough to keep it weighted down. Unfortunately, one piece of that 11-foot rope was not long enough to go all the way up it. It was really close, but just finishing that off, and we can start and stop a new piece of rope, and you can transition that pretty well with some hot glue, and I usually kind of make that the back of my piece anyway, where I start and stop, but this is what our little rope lighthouse looks like so far. So just going to open another package of that rope. You guys know I always stock up on this rope. I love it. I haven't bought it by the case, but you can buy both of I think the Dollar Tree rope by the case at dollartree.com. And just going to go all the way up to the top, right underneath the lip of that vase. And that's going to make like the perfect size for the little lantern to fit right on top. I need the lantern to be able to fit on there, but also I need it to be able to be removable so that I can turn it on and off or change batteries and such. So that's what we've got so far for our little lighthouse with our little snowy bottom. Now I'm going to go in here and try this on. It fits really good. You just kind of have to get it on there just right, like that. And this is the little lantern. I've seen people make lighthouses with the like square, I guess, one. I've never seen anybody make them with this one, but I thought we could make it work. I just removed the handle. The only thing is it makes like some little black pieces like fall inside. I do end up opening that though later and getting those out. Because make sure, again, that you test these candles before you buy them at the Dollar Tree, because I found like over half the box did not work when I tested them at my store. So now I'm going to paint some stripes on our lighthouse. So I'm just using some painter's tape, and I'm going to block off where I can make like 2 wide stripes. I'm going to use painter's tape for this instead of just using the rope as a guide, because I kind of went up it, you know, like in a spiral pattern. So just taping that off and kind of pushing that down into the rope as much as I can so that I won't have very much bleeding when I go to paint that. Normally when I paint rope, I use a chalk paint, but today we're just going to use acrylic. I think it's going to work fine. And this is Caribbean blue that I'm going to use. I'm going to mix that together with some white just to lighten that a little bit. Give it a beachy, wintry vibe, and just going to paint those stripes on there. I'm using one of those little brushes from the Dollar Tree that kind of pushing it down into the fibers of the rope, trying to get in there as much as I can. Doesn't have to be a full coverage on the rope, but trying to get it as much as I can. And then I'm going to do the same thing here for the top. I'm also going to go in here and paint on some windows for our lighthouse to give it more of a lighthouse feel. But let's go ahead and dry this first and peel off the painter's tape. Now, I didn't have too much bleeding. I had a little bit, but I think it's going to be okay. I'm always going for that kind of coastal distressed look. So I'm going to give that a quick dry with my heat gun, and then we can go in and paint that. Just kind of seeing how that's going to look. I decided that I wanted to paint like some like driftwood kind of color windows onto the front. So I'm mixing some Antique Wax by Waverly with some ivory paint, and I'm just going to use a small brush and do like some little arched windows. Super easy to paint. Just one on each one of the stripes. That way you can kind of see them. You could always do this in a grayish color too, if that's more your vibe. But my plan is, I didn't really like the finish on the lantern. So my plan is to take my little distressing brush from the Dollar Tree and that lightened driftwood color, and we're going to distress all over this. So it doesn't really matter what color you got before, the black one or the gray one. This is like a brushed nickel, I guess, kind of looking one. I want some of that dark gray to show through. That'll make it look distressed. So I'm definitely not going for full coverage. And I'm trying to avoid the clear parts of the plastic on there as well. But just giving it a light distress all over to kind of make it look more like a driftwood color. Something that's going to go like way better with my decor. And I think it's going to go nicely with this piece. Now, those little lantern candles, you can open those and replace the little battery operated candle inside. I did have to do that before I took my final picture because it had already died. And so all you have to do is pop it open at the bottom. You can take out the little candle and put a new one in. Now, I wanted to do some rocks, like here at Rocky Shore around the lighthouse. And so I found these great rocks at the Dollar Tree. They're different colors and shapes and sizes, and I thought we could just hot glue different rocks here, like in a rock pile, kind of how it would look like at a lighthouse or a jetty or something like that. Just kind of picking different colors and kind of layering them up like it's a big pile of rock. I'm only going to do that like on one side here, but I think this really added a nice touch, kind of broke up the uniformity of that little snowy bottom and added a little bit more detail to this project. So just trying to cover this one side, and I do layer them a little bit to give it a little bit more depth. And we have a little rocky shore there now too. Now I kind of wanted them to look like they had snow on them. So using a little white acrylic, I am just dabbing on some little like tiny pieces of snow. It was a little too white for my liking though, so I did go back over it with a little bit of that same driftwood color to kind of dirty them up a little bit. And then I'm going to go back in there with a little bit more white for snow, just to add a little bit more character to our rocks here on our lighthouse. So that's how it's looking right now. And we can put the little battery operated lantern right on top for the top of our lighthouse. It lights up and everything. Super fun. And I think this looks really cute. You could definitely not do the snowy stuff at the bottom and make this a year-round decoration for sure. But here it is, our little coastal winter lighthouse DIY. This was so much fun to make. I love the little snowy bank and the snowy rocks there at the bottom. And the fact that it actually lights up, I think is so much fun. I always love a light up Dollar Tree DIY. Okay, the next DIY. You guys know I love these wood slice signs from the Dollar Tree. I usually never use them as signs. I usually make stuff with them, and that's what we're going to do today. So I'm just using my pliers and carefully removing the hanger. You got to be real careful with those little staples on the sides. Sometimes they will take the bark off, so you got to be really gentle. And I thought we could make this like oval shape into a little candle holder that we could make like a winter theme. So I'm going to use some of the Dollar Tree wood stems to make like four little legs. And we're going to do like a frosted candle, frosted reindeer kind of thing. And it turned out so cute. Now, it's just a matter of finding, 4 of the wood stems that are the same height and aren't too big. I kind of wanted more skinny because this was kind of a skinny tray, but I was able to find 4 that I think are going to work. So I'm just going to attach those to the bottom of my wood slice with a little dot of hot glue on each one. And we have a cute little rustic candle holder. Now I did notice that it wasn't super level, so to kind of get around that, I just put a dot of hot glue on the bottom of one of the legs that wasn't quite as long as the other ones like I thought. And I'm going to let that dry, and that kind of helped the tippy problem. Now, this is a little clear acrylic reindeer from Dollar Tree. And I thought I would take some of the frosted glass spray paint by Rust-Oleum, and I will link that in my Amazon shop. I think you can get it at Walmart as well. I'll try to link that. And I had to go read online to see if I could use that on acrylic, and it said that you could because I couldn't really read anything besides glass on the bottle. But I'm going to go ahead and frost the reindeer and frost the candle to make these look extra, wintry. I think that's going to give a nice frozen feel. So let's do the reindeer first. This one was a little bit of a challenge because not only was it pouring down rain outside, it was also blowing wind. But I decided to get the reindeer downwind, and I'm on my porch trying not to get rained on, and I was able to get it, but just barely. Now, let's go ahead and take the candle, the glass candle. It's already white, but I thought it would look really pretty too if we frosted it as well, and it'd make it coordinate well with the reindeer. So I took it outside and gave that a spray as well. The glue is set up on this. It's a little bit more stable now. I think it's going to work. I want it to be as stable as I can since I'm putting a candle on it. I don't really want it to be that light wood though, so I'm going to give it a light stain as well using some Antique Wax by Waverly and a baby wipe. And we're going to stain this too. I want to kind of get a medium wood vibe on this as well. As you can see, it was really sucking up the Antique Wax by Waverly stain though, so I did have to do quite a bit of wiping and drying to kind of get this a little bit more even. But I wanted any areas that don't have snow on them to kind of look that rustic wood color, not the light color that was on the top of it. Just another detail to kind of make all these projects coordinate well together. Now I had to kind of hurry on these, so I'm going to go ahead and speed it up a little bit here with my heat gun, but I was really impressed. When you're spraying it on, you can't really see the frosted as much as you can after, but as you can see, just one coat of that frost on there really made a big impact. Now, when I was doing the candle holder, I had a huge gust of wind come in and it fell over, so I kind of messed up one side of it. But you know what? We're going to make it work with a little bit of crafting. So I just take some school glue and I'm going to just put that all along the edges of my candle. And we're going to make it look like we got snow or like icicles coming down, and just kind of rim it like you do like a margarita and salt. I put that right into my Epsom salt and just kind of push that around. I do have the faux snow coming down the one side where I kind of damaged it a little bit. And we totally made it work, and you have no idea. Besides the fact that I told you guys. And I think that looks really well. And it's a frosted candle, and then it's got the snow on it. I think that makes it look super wintry. So I'm going to start by just putting some hot glue on the bottom of each one of the reindeer hooves so I can kind of glue that on so that really kind of stays in place. I don't really want to glue down the candle though, because I want to be able to replace that. Those are the little Dollar Tree candles, and a votive's not going to last super long. I just take my school glue and I cover about 2/3 of the base of it with that, and then I'm just going to go in there with the Epsom salt again, and we're going to make this look like kind of like wet snow on the ground. And I found the combination of the school glue and the Epsom salt, and then some of this spray adhesive from the Dollar Tree really made it look slushy and snowy. And then I can just go ahead and lay my snowy candle right on top of the little snowbank. And this looks so wintry and fun. Here is the little frosted reindeer. We have the frosted candle with the snow all over it. And then we even have some snow still on the ground of our little wood slice candle holder. I love crafting with those. We're going to use another one of those a little later on. And let's show it all lit up. I love a cozy candle for winter. Nothing better. And the great thing about this is it kind of lights up the little frosted reindeer next to it. Okay, our next DIY, I thought we'd use some of these adorable little wood ice skates from the Dollar Tree. You get 2 together. And just make a cute little winter sign. I'm going to use one of those little galvanized metal signs from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. It's kind of like the slatted design. And I thought we could do something cute with this. Something that's going to coordinate with the little stocking hats that we just made. So I don't really have to do anything to that metal background. It is good and ready to go. But I thought we could like kind of layer up the little ice skates kind of like that. They have the design where they're kind of like on opposite sides, but that's okay. We're going to do our own thing on these anyway. So I'm just going to use heat and a putty knife and just pop off that snowflake on there because it's kind of in my way on this one. The other one I'm not going to worry about. I'm just going to leave it there. I thought about drilling holes in there to do laces, but I decided that might be a little much. Again, we're going to use one of those microfiber washcloths from the Dollar Tree. It's going to make this tie in well with the other 2 DIYs we just used with this. And we're going to cover the skate material with that. Now for the blades and the bottom of the skates, I kind of just wanted them to be stained. I thought about doing silver, but I kind of liked the rusty feel of the brown. So we're just going to use some Antique Wax by Waverly and then wipe off the excess with a baby wipe. It's going to give us that nice light stain. I think it's going to go well with the different colors that we're using on these DIYs. So my plan is just to cover the skates with this material. So I am just going to use an ink pen. I couldn't find my chalk marker. I don't know what I just did with it. And I'm just going to kind of draw on where the boot would be. Just enough where I can cut that out. Now I'm going to double that up so I can go ahead and cut both at the same time. Now doing it this way by folding it, you're going to get 2 different textures. One's going to be the back of the washcloth and one's going to be the front. So one's going to be fuzzy and one's going to be not. If you want both of yours to be the same, then don't fold them like I did. I didn't really realize I was doing that, but I kind of liked the final effect, so I went ahead and went with it. So this one is like the fuzzy one. And then the one that's going to be on the inside is not so fuzzy. That's when I realized, girl, what did you do? But we're going to make it work. So I did a pretty good job of cutting it out. It fits on there pretty good. I'm just going to trim it up a little bit and then trim off the top. Now I'm going to attach it with Mod Podge, just doing a nice thick layer of Mod Podge over the skate part. And gluing that on. It's pretty forgiving. You can kind of stretch it out if you cut it a little bit too short. And then I'm going to trim it to right underneath the little cuff on the top of the ice skate. Now we're going to do the same thing on this one, except this one's going to look nice and fuzzy. I thought about redoing that, making them both fuzzy, but it's always fun to have a little bit of variety in textures when you're working with a DIY, I think. So I just glued that one down as well. I'm using Mod Podge instead of hot glue again because I don't want any of the glue to come through and damage that microfiber. It works well for fabrics. Now for the top, I thought we could use that bath mat again from the Dollar Tree. We're getting lots of use out of this today to make little fuzzies for the top of the ice skate. So I just cut out a little piece. And then I'm going to cut out 2 little strips, one for each ice skate. That's going to help it coordinate well with the stocking hats as well because it has the same kind of material and the same colors. I'm going to go ahead and cover up the holes on the top because I'm not going to hang them. I'm just going to glue them on. So I'm just going to attach that with hot glue, nice and thick material. I can definitely do that. Again, you're going to get a little bit of shedding on those from cutting them. Now, I wanted to give it a coastal touch as well. So again, I'm going to use one of those craft board sea creatures. This time I thought maybe like a jumping dolphin would be cute. And it kind of looks cute in the brown, but I kind of wanted to keep with the blue and the white theme that I was doing for the little stocking hats and the ice skates. And I'm going to go ahead and paint it white with a makeup sponge. Again, being very careful that I don't get it too wet because I don't want that cardboard to fall apart. These are more fragile than I remember them being. And I'm only going to do one. I'm only going to do one for the little skate that's on top, like it's kind of on the outside of the skate. And I'm just going to attach that with a little bit of hot glue. Super cute. I've had this for a while. I don't know why I haven't been using them very much. Okay, so now we can start putting this together. I'm going to attach it to the little galvanized metal sign with hot glue along the top of the skate. So I'm going to put glue just there on that top part and glue that to like one of the parts of the metal that's sticking up there so it'll catch it. And then we're going to kind of stagger this second one on top a little bit. Again, just gluing this top part. I tried gluing them to each other there at the bottom. Didn't really work too much because they have different sizes. So I'm going to add more hot glue here to the top to make sure this stays on. I love it. I think it's looking super cute. Again, I'm going to use some of that ribbon from the Dollar Tree. This is the one that kind of looks like fishnet. And I just had some extra pieces of that. I'm just going to tie that around the top to kind of give the appearance of a little fishnet hanging down. Had a little bit of free space over here, and I thought this would make a cute little bow. And then I thought seashells, so I'm going to use some of these little tiny seashells that you get in the little clear glass bottles from the Dollar Tree. And we are just going to glue some on here to give some more coastal beachy touches to this DIY. I think this turned out really sweet and cute, and it looks so good with the little stocking hats. So I'm just picking out different styles of seashells, kind of in the same color scheme, and gluing them on there. Now, I didn't do laces, so I'm going to use some of this baker's twine or this twine from the hardware section at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to do a bow. I thought about doing laces, but at this point, I thought it was going to be too much trouble. So I'm just going to do a bow for the top of one of the skates, just the one that's on top. Just add a little fun, and I just glued that to the top where the laces would be laced up. And this is how it turned out. I think it's super cute. I love the fuzzy fabrics and all the different textures and materials. And I think it's really cute for winter. And of course, I appreciate the little coastal details. This would be a really easy one to modify though. Just make it straight winter decor. I just love those little skates. I think they're so sweet. I'm terrible at ice skating, but I love the idea of it, right? Okay, our next DIY, I'm going to use this great piece of driftwood that I found at the beach the other day. If you're not lucky enough to be able to find any driftwood in your backyard, you could always use any kind of a log or fallen wood that you have in your yard. And we're going to make like a snowflake mobile to hang on the wall using this driftwood. So I wanted different sizes and shapes of snowflakes. So I got some of these hanging snowflakes from the Dollar Tree, and I noticed they had two different patterns. So I'm going to use like two of that pattern and then two of this pattern. Notice how this one's like more square shaped, and these are my large snowflakes. And then for the rest, I'm going to use the little ornament ones that they also have at the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to kind of just stagger those out. I want them to look like they're kind of cascading or falling down my wall. And then I want to use the smaller snowflakes kind of like scattered in between, just kind of trying to arrange those. I'm going to do a total of 8. So 4 rows of 2, I guess. And I'm just using a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree and some white acrylic paint. It's a great, easy way to paint these thin wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to go over all of them. I just want to hang them down. I'm going to use twine from the Dollar Tree to do it. If you didn't want to be able to see the string, you could always use like fishing line or something like that. That would make it kind of disappear a little bit. But I like twine pieces. A lot of times I have like seashells hanging from these in my house. And so this time it's going to be some snowflakes for winter DIY. So we got those all painted white. I do want them to look a little distressed beachy to match my coastal farmhouse decor. So using a little antique wax by Waverly and a brush from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to very lightly distress these, kind of working in one direction, just to kind of give them a little bit more of a rustic coastal feel or vibe, wiping off any excess with a baby wipe. Now, this is the twine I'm going to use. I tried to put this in a needle, but it was a little bit too big. But this is the thinner twine from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to start here at the bottom. The smaller ornaments only have a hole in the top, and the bigger ones have it on the top and the bottom. So I can go through the top and the bottom, stringing the string along the back on those. But I kind of just have to go in from the back on the other ones, and we'll just make that work. And I'm tying that off to our driftwood. Now I'm going to kind of measure just to kind of have some uniformity. I'm going down about 5 inches for the first little snowflake, and I'm going to hot glue that twine to the back so it stays in place. Instead of knotting it, I thought maybe it would hang better if I kind of try to do it a little bit flatter. And then I'm going to go down about 2 inches on the twine for the next ornament. And I'm also going to just secure that with a little bit of hot glue. That one stays in place a lot better because it has like the hole on the top and the bottom. And then I'm just going to keep working my way down until I get to the bottom, about 2 inches between each piece. Now on the very bottom one, I'm just going to tie it off here in the front and kind of let that one dangle down. Now we're going to do the same thing here on the other side, starting on the bottom, going through the front, going through the back of this piece, and just kind of fishing it through. And I thought this would be really fun. What I want to do with this piece is combine like coastal with my driftwood, and you'll see a little bit more, and then my snowflakes. This one I'm going to move this one up about 4 inches, just so they're a little bit different heights. And then I'm going to do 2 inches between each one over here too, securing those with hot glue to the twine. I thought about adding seashells to the snowflakes as well, but I decided against it. I thought it might be a little too much, but you totally could. And then I'm going to tie off the bottom one as well. And this is really cute. You could paint both sides white if you had someplace to hang this where it can kind of dangle down and be visible by both sides. Now I wanted to decorate that driftwood. I just couldn't leave it. So first I'm going to go ahead and put like a little sawtooth hanger that I had and just kind of nail that into the back so we have a hanger for the driftwood. And then I see a lot of people do like succulent garden kind of stuff on driftwood. So I thought maybe we could give our best little Dollar Tree attempt. But I also want to mix in some winter. So I'm going to mix in some pine cones from the Dollar Tree as well. I think I got those pine cones from the Dollar Tree. It may have been the Dollar Spot at Target. But I'm going to use one of these like blue succulents from the Dollar Tree. And I think it goes kind of cool with pine cones. Very similar shapes. But to first start, we're going to use some Spanish moss from the Dollar Tree. And I kind of want to just line the top of the driftwood with the Spanish moss. So just kind of cutting off a piece. Stuff can be a little messy. And hot gluing that to the top. And I'm going to kind of go over almost all the way to the edge with the Spanish moss. I thought that would give us a great place to start building like this little succulent garden on here. I think it's going to be a fun contrast, the like beachy succulents with the pine cones. So I'm just going to glue a pine cone over here, kind of angled off to the side like it's kind of like sitting up there, and attach that with hot glue. Trying to stand it up so it will glue on properly without falling off. And then I'm going to do the little blue succulent over here. At first I was going to use 2 of those blue succulents, but I end up only using 1. So I'm going to do another pine cone. I'm going to attach it right over here, kind of leaving a little bit of an opening there because I want to add some seashells to this project. And then I was trying to decide what succulent to use for the last one. I thought about the grass, but it was a little bit tall. So I do go in with a little smaller succulent that I have from the Dollar Tree and glue that on. I always save these after I use them for things because there's so many DIY projects you can use a little succulent plants from the Dollar Tree for. So we have those all secure. And now we can start adding some seashells. These are just seashells from the Dollar Tree. I'm trying to pick out some interesting ones like cone-shaped things that would be like kind of attached to a old piece of driftwood. Trying to make this look really fun and beachy. And then I thought I would kind of stand this one up here in the back just to give it a little bit of height. Like that. Super cute. And then maybe another seashell over here somewhere. I end up doing it all the way at the end. This is kind of a bluer green seashell. Very cute, like cone shell. And I really like how this turned out. I really like mixing the different themes together, the coastal theme with the winter theme. I think it turned out really fun. So this is what it looks like at this point. Now, the only thing, it does have the pine cones, but I was thinking it needed to be a little bit more wintry. So I thought I would use just some white acrylic and one of these chunky brushes from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to kind of make everything look like it has like a little layer of snow on it, even the succulents, the pine cones, the seashells, everything. And I thought that definitely gave it like kind of a fun winter vibe. I'm even going to do the driftwood as well. Just dotting that on like a thin layer of snow. And I think that really gave it the final like little winter touch that I was going for. I'm going to do it all along the front as well. This piece of driftwood was a little bit dark, so that is brightening it up a little bit. And I think that is the perfect final touch to our little snow mobile. I'm going to show you what this looks like hanging on my wall. I have kind of like a little crooked wall in my entryway, and I always like to put something special there, and this looks really cool. It was so easy to make with those little wood ornaments from the Dollar Tree, and definitely a fun DIY to incorporate those. So let me give you a little look of how this one turned out. Isn't that so cute and fun? I wanted to make a snowman, but I wanted to be super creative. So I'm going to use 3 of these little ship wheel photo frames. These are from the summer. I was able to find these at my store. I've noticed that like at my stores, when they don't sell all of the summer stuff, they put it back like in the party section. So that's a tip to look for stuff if you want to buy stuff off season. But I thought these were round, and so they kind of look like round for snowmen, right? So we can do something fun. So just taking the backs off of all of those, and I am just taking out the little staples or prongs that hold the back on the frame. And the back frame of those was actually wood, which was kind of nice. We're not going to use those, but I'll probably save those for another DIY. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint these. I'm just using a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree and white acrylic paint. I'm just going to go over these a couple of times to get really good coverage. I thought we could put all 3 of them together and make it look like a fun, like coastal snowman. It's going to be kind of abstract. It's not going to have like a face and lots of detail, but I think it turns out really cute. Okay, so I am just going to give those a quick dry and do another coat of white all over. And I want to kind of overlap these a little bit. I was trying to decide which ones I should do on front. I kind of want it to be weighted evenly so that I can stand this up. I kind of tried it like that. I end up using the middle one on the top though. I do want them to have some kind of a background though, so I'm going to use some of this white burlap. I got this on Amazon, but I think it actually shipped from Walmart. And I'm just going to use the back for reference, and I'm going to cut 3 pieces out a little bit larger than the back so that I can attach those to the back of the little ship wheels. So once I get those all on there, I'm just going to cut those all out. And I'm just going to hot glue these to the back of the ship wheel. It's going to give me a really great texture. It's going to make the ship wheels a little bit, see-through. But I like the white burlap. I think that's really pretty. So I'm just making sure it fits on there. I'm just going to do a bead of hot glue just thinly around the inside of the ship wheel. Just gluing that onto the back. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other 2. I've never DIY'd with these ship wheel frames before. I've never known what to do with them, but I'm glad I came up with this idea. I hope that you guys enjoy it as well. And don't forget to hit that like button. Always helps the YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to comment your favorite DIY or just say hello in the comments below. I always love reading all of your all's kind words. Okay, so we've got the burlap on the back of all of our ship wheel. And we can start putting this little snowman together. So this is how I end up doing it. I end up leaving the middle ship wheel on top. I'm going to glue down the little pieces. These do have a top and the bottom. As you can see, there's like a little base on the bottom part. So I'm using that down on all of them. But gluing that top one to the bottom too. And it gives me a nice snowman shape. Now for a scarf, I'm going to use one of these pretty microfiber washcloths from the Dollar Tree. They're nice and fuzzy and a beautiful color of beachy blue. They're not quite long enough, but we're going to make it work. These are going to go great with the other winter DIYs that I've already made using the same fabric. It's going to make them coordinate nicely. And then this color goes great with a coastal decor, but you could always use whatever color your house is decorated in. So just cutting a strip, and I'm also going to cut the little seam off the ends. So it's going to give us a nice little soft fuzzy scarf for our snowman. Now, as you can see, it's not quite long enough to go like around like a traditional scarf. But the thing is, you're not going to be able to see the scarf in the back. And so I think we can kind of fake it a little bit by pulling this one down in the front and then kind of overlapping it with this short little piece. And I think it's going to be fine. I thought about making it longer, but I think this works. So I'm just going to glue that to the back. And now our little snowman has a scarf. Now he needs a hat. So I thought we could make a little snowman hat with some of these jumbo popsicle sticks. I get these at Walmart, I think. And I'm going to use 3 for the hat and 1 for like the brim of the hat. So I love working with these because they're so easy to cut to whatever size you want with just a pair of scissors. So I'm going to cut 3 down for the hat. And then I'm going to use 1 for the brim like that. I decided that hat might be a little tall, so I'm going to trim them down a little bit smaller. And there's the top of our hat, and then we're going to cut the other one to be like the brim of the hat. Just like that, just a perfect size hat for this. And then just using hot glue, I'm going to glue the brim to the hat. That's also going to glue all the pieces together and make a little hat for our snowman. At first, I thought about covering it with that blue washcloth fabric, but I decided that I wanted to paint it, distress it, kind of make it look driftwood-like. So I'm using some ivory acrylic mixed together with some Antique Wax by Waverly to give myself a nice base coat. And the popsicle sticks are so easy to paint. And then I'm going to take some Antique Wax by Waverly and just working in one direction, I'm just going to distress it lightly, kind of giving a little bit of a weathered wood tone. And now we have a little hat. So I'm just going to hot glue this on his head, like a little bit tilted to the left. And I'm not going to do a face or arms or anything like that. I kind of want this kind of as abstract as possible so you can kind of still see that we're using ship wheels and that this is a really unique little snowman. Now to make it stand up, I'm going to use some of those little mini Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue 1 on each one of those handles, not going all the way to the bottom because I want it to stand up good. So you want it to slightly lean back just a little bit so it's stable and doesn't turn over. But this is how it turned out, our little ship wheel snowman. Talk about unique, right? Very unique. And so that's how he's going to stand up with a little stand that I made. And let me show you how he looks on my console table in my entryway. And I think he is so creative and cute. And it was actually a good use for those little ship wheel photo frames. I always pick those up in the summer, and then I often struggle trying to figure out what to do with them, but I thought this was a really creative idea for a coastal snowman DIY. Okay, the next DIY, I got this glass at the Dollar Tree. Look at these beautiful, like, white, glittery, frosted snowflakes on it. I thought I could make this into something besides just a glass. So I'm just going to peel the sticker off the bottom. And I thought I could make it look like a small, like, candle holder. And I kind of wanted a wood base for it to make it a little bit more substantial. So I got one of the chunky wood circle hanging decor from the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree. And I thought that would make the perfect base for it. Since it's round, it's just about the right size. And I'm going to give it that same stain that I've been giving everything else. So just adding a little bit of Antique Wax by Waverly and a baby wipe, and we can kind of stain this on here. I know it does have a hole in it, but we're going to be adding lots of stuff to this anyway, so we're going to be able to cover that up. And you will be able to see the sides of this, so I'm going to go ahead and stain that with the Antique Wax by Waverly and my baby wipe all the way around, just kind of spreading that around. You're not going to be able to see the bottom, so I'm not really going to do that. But I thought we could make a really easy winter candle with this using some of those little emergency candles from the Dollar Tree. I love those. They're white and they burn for 6 hours. They're really pretty. And I got that all dried out. Now we can go ahead and start putting this little candle holder together. Now I wanted to stay put since it is going to have a candle on it. So I'm going to put hot glue around the base of the glass and then just kind of center that on the little wood riser that we made for it. I kind of used a lot of hot glue because I really kind of wanted to make this stick as well as I could. I don't want it tipping over, and that's one reason I'm adding the base is to make it a little bit more strong. And then I'm going to kind of cover the base of it with a little bit of snow too to go with the wood. So I just kind of go around with some of the school glue, and I can kind of spread that around with just a paintbrush to kind of give a snowy base to this. Um, some of the wood will show through and you'll still have the wood on the side, but I wanted to use the Epsom salt to kind of make it look like a slushy, a snowy pile around the candle. And that's also going to cover up the little hole that we had in the little wood ring. And I'm just going to go in with a little bit of the spray glue to make sure it's down and sprinkle a little bit more snow around it to make it a little bit crunchier and thicker. And out of anything that I've tried, the faux snow from the Dollar Tree and Target Dollar Spot and stuff like that, the Epsom salt definitely has made the best snow out of anything that I've ever tried. It's perfect. Now we can go ahead and put it together. I thought, while I don't have anything in it, let's go ahead and frost the top of it too to make it extra wintry. So I just took some more school glue and a paintbrush and I just went all around the edges just like that. And then we can go ahead and dip that in the Epsom salt like we did before, kind of like you're, rimming a margarita. Just kind of circle it into the salt and look at that. Made it extra frosty and cool, but you definitely have to do it now before you start putting this together. Now to fill it up, I'm just using some more of the white sand from Dollar Tree. I don't want to fill it too full, just long enough to hold a candle, but not really cover up that beautiful snowflake design. And then this is one of the little emergency candles from the Dollar Tree. And I just stick that little white candle down in the white sand. And we have a super easy little winter candle. I think it's so cute. This is how it looks. We have like the snow around the rim. The snowflakes are all like white glittery. You have like the snowy feel of the white sand. And then you have that snowy base with the Epsom salt. So lots of snow going on here, but also a little bit of warmth from the wood. So let's go ahead and light this candle up too and see how it looks. And it's really beautiful. It lights up that beautiful snowflake design. Look how pretty that turned out. Now this sign, I'm actually using a thrift flip sign. I thought this would be perfect. I had actually used it for another project, and so I just go over it in some white just to kind of give myself a blank surface on that one. And then I'm going to use one of these little snowflake wood signs from the Dollar Tree, just patching the hole in top with a little spackle, and then we're going to paint it. I wanted it to be a real soft blue, so I mixed like half Caribbean blue, half ivory together. Got this real icy blue color, and simply going to paint this little snowflake. I liked this one because it's kind of solid. There's lots of area that I can make this look like a hand-painted sign, something really fun for winter that you can leave up all winter, not just for Christmas. So that's kind of the theme of all of these. They're all going to be kind of winter, but with a coastal spin. And so I'm just getting a good coat on there, and I'm just going to use a white paint pen, like a Sharpie white paint pen, and try my best to freehand this. I'm going to try to do like a Rae Dunn font for these letters. And then I might mix it up a little bit here towards the bottom. But if you're not confident doing it, freehand, you can always use your Cricut. But I thought this thing was so funny for this. Sand is the new snow. So I'm just going to touch it up a little bit and make it look good. And then I'm going to use some of these little wood snowflakes from the Dollar Tree to kind of decorate the snowflake a little bit further. Give it a little bit more fun touch. And I'm just using a makeup sponge and some white and simply painting those. And I'm just going to attach those. I thought about doing a snowflake on each little point of the snowflake, but I decided less was more, and I'm only going to do 4. One on the top, bottom, and both sides. And now I'm going to add this thin Dollar Tree sign to this thrift flip sign that I just painted white. And I'm just going to attach it with hot glue. And you could do this on any other kind of sign. You could do it from a Dollar Tree sign, a thrift flip sign, whatever you've got. But it's going to make that Dollar Tree snowflake look way more high-end and thicker. And then I thought it just needed a bow. So I'm going to take some Dollar Tree burlap ribbon and cut it in half. And we're just going to make a super simple X bow. I got some of this ivory ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's like a lace ribbon. And then some of this light blue ribbon from the Dollar Tree with the snowflake pattern on that. It's going to go perfect with the sign, I think. And then we're just going to cinch it all together with a zip tie. Easy peasy. I like an easy bow. And just secure that in the back. And then I can trim that off. And I'm going to trim the ribbon a little bit too, make it look a little bit better. Super cute. So I thought this would be cute kind of like on the side. So I'm going to glue it to this one here, this part of the snowflake. And then I thought the final beachy touch on this would be really cute, would be to add a sand dollar. These are the smaller ones I get on Amazon. They're available in my shop below. You could always use the larger ones from Dollar Tree. But this is how it turned out. I love the saying, sand is the new snow, and it's a fun, whimsical way to use these like little wooden snowflake signs from the Dollar Tree. I think since they have like a solid back on there, it's just a great way to display like words or a sign like this. Now the next DIY is the easiest thing ever. I picked up a white candlestick from the Dollar Tree, and they had these great flocked pine cones at the Dollar Tree as well. The flocking on these is wonderful, and it's a nice, really large pine cone, so I thought this would be perfect on display for winter. You're getting that same wood vibe from the pine cone, right? But then you have the white snow on it, you have the white candle holder, and I'm just going to kind of pair them together like that to make a beautiful snowy pine cone display. This had a pretty flat bottom, so I'm just going to go ahead and put some hot glue on that. Lay that up against the white candle holder and just hold that in place until my hot glue sets up. Not going to add anything else to this DIY. It was so easy to put together. My son said this was his favorite one, and I'm like, oh, thank you. That was easy. Thank you. But I agree. I think it looks really cool. And the flocking that they did on the pine cone was pretty impressive. But if you only had a plain one, like a big one like that, you could probably get away with Epsom salt to kind of get a similar result, or just white paint. Isn't that so fun for winter and so simple to put together? Couldn't be any easier than that. 2 items from the Dollar Tree and a little hot glue. It's going to be my icy blue winter tier tray. This one is so easy. We're going to be using one of these tier trays from the Dollar Tree. It's $5. It is the Christmas tree 2-tiered tray. So this is going to be a smaller tier tray. And honestly, the tier tray itself, what we're going to do to it is most of the DIY. As you can see, it's like a Christmas green color. I've never gotten one of these tier trays from the Dollar Tree before. They're from Dollar Tree Plus, $5. And this is what they look like. Now, I thought that we could give it a winter makeover and use it for winter instead of Christmas. So I found this great spray paint in this very soft blue color. I think it looks like really icy blue. And we're just going to paint it. I thought since the tier tray was metal, spray painting it is definitely the way to go. So I just start by spray painting the bottom of it and the sides of it. I want to basically paint everything, and I thought it would be easier to do that before I put it together. So just spraying it with that icy blue. What I want to do for this first tier tray, I told you this one's going to be really simple. I'm a little short on time this week because getting ready for my vacation, and I wanted a little winter tier tray for my kitchen still. The color that I'm using is called Turquoise Sky by Rust-Oleum, and I just sprayed both of the trays, top and bottom, and then this is the pole that goes on the top, and then this is the pole that goes in the middle. Pretty impressive tier tray for $5. It is a little smaller than what I normally craft, and not near as detailed as the ones coming on later on in the video, but this is a nice, simple idea. And I actually like it better, this blue color, than I liked it green. I think it's going to look icy and cool, and what I want to do is put like all white items into it to give me that winter feel. So just finishing up, I am spray painting the top of these. Just waiting for this to dry was probably the most time-consuming part of this. I don't know why, but it's raining a lot here in Florida today, and the humidity probably it didn't help. I'm doing this out in my garage though. And then I'm just going to spray paint the last little piece here, and we can set this aside, let this dry, and then put it together. I have bought a lot of tier trays from like Amazon and stuff like that where you have to put them together. And a lot of times they have like bolts on the bottom and stuff. This has got the bolt like kind of permanently on the bottom already, so that makes it easier. All you have to do is screw on that middle post and then screw on the top part. So you just put it over the screw, and then the top pole screws on there as well. It was actually pretty easy to put together. It seems good enough quality. It's a little wobbly being that it's made out of metal like that, but this is how it looks painted, that turquoise sky color. I think it's so pretty. So what I want to do is decorate it with icy white winter things. And I do like the blue bottom on it, but of course I want some faux snow. So this is the Dollar Tree faux snow. What I'm going to do is make it snow in here, but I'm going to sprinkle it where the blue, you still see the blue, just a light dusting of snow. For the first item, I picked up some white glittery eucalyptus from Dollar Tree and a beautiful like light blue vase from Dollar Tree. Had a bumblebee on it. I'm just going to remove that. And I'm going to fill it up with some white sand for a little filler in there. And we can make a simple little floral arrangement. This is going to give me some height. I can put this on the top tier. And this soft blue is definitely going to go with the blue that we painted the tier tray. And I love the all white of these. The little glitter eucalyptus, I just cut them into individual pieces so that I can arrange it and make it a little bit shorter than when it's all attached. So I just added a little bit more sand and we're gonna fill this up. I love adding like a floral piece or greenery or something like that to a tier tray. I think it's always a nice touch. I'm gonna put it right there in the back of my tier tray. Now for the next items, I got these little white flocked reindeer at the Target dollar spot. You got like 3 of them in a package. I love these. I've used these for a couple of years now because they're so versatile. I just put the one that was laying down there on the top. The next 3 items are just unfinished white ceramic Christmas trees. I think I got these at Target dollar spot. I may have gotten them at Dollar Tree. I honestly can't remember on these. I think it was Target dollar spot. They were completely unfinished, which I liked. And I probably would have left them like that, but they were a little marked up. So I am just using some flat white primer spray paint to go over them because I just want a matte white feel to go with those flocked reindeer. I just add one to the back, and I think that's all I need on the top tier. Now for the bottom tier, I'm going to do kind of the same thing that I did on the top. I'm going to sprinkle some of that Dollar Tree faux snow down here. Again, I want some of the blue to show through, but I do want it to look snowy and icy for that winter feel on this one. And then I add one of the deer over here. I'm going to add another one of the deer here. So I used all 3 of them on this tier tray. The next item is this cute little kind of a block penguin that I got at Dollar Tree. The only thing about it, it's glossy white, and what I want to do is make it matte white like everything else on the tier tray so it doesn't look super shiny. So I just went over mine with that matte white spray paint just to make it look the same as some of the other items that we added here, and I think that looks really cute. Now for the back, I'm going to add the other 2 white Christmas trees. And you can kind of see what I was going for on this. All of my color I really wanted on the tier tray. And then I just wanted icy white for everything else. It was such an easy tier tray to do. Let me give you a little look around so you can see how it turned out. I love it. I'm actually a big fan of that tier tray. I think it turned out pretty good. And I think it's going to look really pretty in my kitchen for winter. Everything was kind of simple with just the whites and the icy blues. But that color combination, when you find a color combination like that for a tier tray, can really make the whole thing pop. And it's not real colorful. So I think it looks Great for winter.
The next DIY, I wanted to make a fun like decor piece, but also a fun piece. So I'm going to use one of these jars from the Dollar Tree and we're going to make kind of a snow globe. It's going to be a waterless snow globe, something really easy, but I like the size of this jar. I think it's really pretty. It's got a really pretty silver lid. So I'm just making sure that I get the tag off the bottom and then we can start building this super easy snow globe. This was so easy to put together and it turned out so cute. And it's really fun because it's a decor piece that you can play with and not mess it up at all. And so I wanted to decorate inside. So I'm going to use a couple of these little white bottle brush trees that I have left over from Christmas from the Dollar Tree. And one of these little wood snowmen. It's just the right size. I got that at the Target dollar spot in a 2-pack with another snowman that I used for a previous DIY. And it's just raw wood, so we're going to paint it. I'm just going to use some white acrylic to paint the snowman part white. I really liked these, but all the ones that I've used from the Target dollar spot, I've like just kind of painted them. So I kind of wish they would have actually painted them instead of just leaving them natural wood, because I just couldn't really find a use for them in their natural state. But I guess they'd be pretty stained and stuff too. But I want this to look like a white snowman, just traditional. So I'm also going to use black for his hat. So just using some little brushes from the Dollar Tree and some black acrylic, we're just going to go in and paint his hat black as carefully as I can, trying not to get any on him. But of course I did. So I'm just going to wipe that off. Now he doesn't really have a carrot nose. He kind of has just a ball for a nose. And I'm going to kind of keep him simple like he is. But I do want his nose to be orange. Even though it's not a carrot, I'm just going to paint that like pumpkin orange color. Just to kind of make it look more traditional. I'm not going to do buttons or eyes or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it like that. I think that's going to be fine. And now we just need to attach our little Christmas trees and our snowman to the bottom of this because we're going to have it upside down to make like a giant snow globe. So I'm just trying to figure out how I want to arrange it. I think it looks cute like this with like a snowman over on the side and the two trees kind of together. And so I'm just going to attach that to our lid with hot glue. And I was looking for a jar to do this. I think this one is definitely the perfect size I was looking for. And this is how it looks when they are hot glued down. Now I need to fill the jar with snow. So that's the next step. I'm going to use some of this faux snow. It's like the little styrofoam ball snow. Definitely messy. Almost every bag at the Dollar Tree had a hole in the bag, I noticed. So you might have to pick some of these up. But I used a half a bag, dumped it in there, and then I'm going to see if that's enough by screwing the lid back on. You don't want to put too much in there for sure. You want to be able to see the snowman in the trees. And that was the perfect amount of snow. It covers up the bases of everything. It's nice and fun to play with. And it actually doesn't get stuck in the bottle brush trees. I was worried about that, like when you shake it. Now to finish off the top, I thought it would be fun to do like a snowball on top. And I got these little snowballs at the Dollar Tree, but you could use any kind of white pom-pom or any kind of white fluffy ball like this for the top. Or even a wood bead would be cute too. And I'm just going to secure the little snowball to the top just to kind of cover up the number and stuff that was on the top of the jar and make it look a little bit more finished. And there it is, our super easy snowman snow globe, waterless snow globe, I guess. And it's really fun because it's a cute little winter decor piece. And you can leave it out all winter long and you can play with it as well.
Okay, you guys ready for a wreath? I'm going to use just one of these gold wire wreath forms from the Dollar Tree and some of these microfiber mop heads from the Dollar Tree. I think they look fun and snowy for winter. And this, you could use like a thicker wreath for them, like the foam one, but I kind of wanted this to be larger, so I'm using just the single gold one. But you could also use the one that, the wire one that's thicker, because this does turn out very lightweight. Which could be good if you want like a lightweight wreath for your door. I use this indoor just hanging on my wall, so of course I want it to be nice and light. But I just take it and fold the little mop head over and glue it to itself, and it covers quite a bit.
of the wreath form, as you can see there. Then I'm going to go with a second mop head and do the same thing. I'm going to kind of, work with it so it looks round at the end and not like a square, because it's kind of looking like a square so far, right? But just kind of working it together and spacing it out. What we want to do is I want to make this look like a coastal winter, like life buoy or life ring. Um, because I think that's a really fun thing to hang on the wall for like coastal decor, but I wanted it to look like snow, so that's why I'm using these mop heads, and 4 of them work perfectly to cover this wreath form. So I got it all together. Now to do the little strap parts on the life buoy, I'm going to use some of this wired burlap from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to go ahead and cut out 4 pieces. And that's going to cover the 4 seams between all the different mop heads and make it look way more finished. And just gluing that to the back and gluing that around. Super easy. Making a life buoy like this or a life ring is super fun, and I love it for a wreath. It's just perfect for coastal decor. Gonna do the same thing here on the second side. And I really liked the fact that I didn't have to cut the mop heads, because these can be really messy when you start cutting them. The fibers all start coming out, but if you don't cut them like this, then you're not gonna have any mess. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way around, just hot gluing it to itself on the back. And that's going to secure it. I'm only gluing it down on the back because I need to have the rest of it a little bit loose so that I can add to the ropes and stuff to this at the end. I guess you could do that at the beginning, but I'm going to go ahead and fish it through after I get all 4 of these secure. And then to make sure it's not going anywhere, I do cut another little piece of the burlap just to secure it on the back. And then I'm just using some Dollar Tree white rope. And I'm going to start the first one by gluing it under the ribbon. And then I'm going to just kind of feed it through all of the rest of them, leaving a little bit extra. That would be the rope on the side of the life ring. What do you guys call these? I know they're called life buoys. I know they're called life rings. I think I always called them like life preservers. I don't know. Comment below. And I go all the way around. This rope was a scrap piece of rope. It wasn't quite long enough, but we're going to make it work. Now, I didn't like the fact that it was, kind of like laying up against it. You couldn't really see it. So I'm going to actually wire the back of it with just some of this wire jute, just to make it where I can bend it and mold it and make it kind of stick out where you can see it. If your rope was a little bit longer than my piece, you might not have to do this step. But I'm just going to go around and do that just to make it a little bit more sturdy. I thought that you really couldn't see the rope. So I'm just going to feed it through all of the ribbon like I did before, and just attach it to the back of the rope with hot glue. You're not going to be able to see it in the final product. Okay, it's looking really good. I thought it needed a little bit of color, so I'm going to use some of this blue ribbon from the Dollar Tree that has the little white snowflakes on it that I used on our Santa's New Snow sign. And I'm just going to cut one for each of the little burlap ribbons, and we're just going to glue that on the same way we did the ribbon. It's going to add a little bit of blue to this DIY and really tie it all in together. And this was so easy. This would look great. Even if you had like a lake house or something like that, this would be a great coastal winter DIY. And the great thing about all of these projects is that you can leave these up all winter. You don't have to take them down when Christmas is over. And here it is, our final product. It looks really fun hanging on my wall. I have brown walls, so that white really pops, and it looks great for winter. I love this DIY.
A little fluffy snow life buoy. I liked this so much that I made a smaller version for a Christmas ornament for my coastal Christmas tree. I think it's just so much fun. Okay, next DIY. You guys know I'm obsessed with these little light up glass bottles they have at Dollar Tree right now. Every time I see them in the clear, I try to pick them up because they're fantastic. They have a cork that has the battery inside and it has like the LED lights. Isn't that so cool? So I thought we can make this look simple and wintry by just adding a few touches. Now, I don't normally mind the color of the cork, but today we were going for white and snowy. So I thought, you know what, we could probably paint it. So I thought the least invasive way to do it would just be to spray it with some white spray paint. And I'm going to take it outside and give it a quick spray. I just covered up the lights themselves with some masking tape so they wouldn't get any paint on them. And just gave it one coat of white just to kind of brighten that part of the DIY up a little bit. And it didn't seem to interfere with the switch or the battery or anything like that. That's what I was afraid of for painting it. But I think we can make that work. Now I wanted to look like a little winter tree inside, and I found this like winter greenery at Dollar Tree that kind of looks like, I think it looks like trees with like snow stuck to them, which is what I'm kind of going for. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut one of these off to form a little tree. And it's a little bit longer than I need, but I can always kind of shorten this to size. And this is the glass bottle. You guys have seen me in a couple different videos use these already. I love them. And I'm going to fill it up with some white sand again using my funnel. I'm only going to do it deep enough for me to be able to put the base of my like tree in, so it'll look like a little snowy tree in snow. So about a third of the way, I think. And then I kind of measure the greenery to see if it's going to fit, and I definitely need to trim this down. So I'm just going in. Most of this is plastic. You can trim it easily. There's one strand of it that's kind of wire. So I had to kind of switch back and forth there with my scissors. But I thought I could kind of just put it down inside like that and stand it up in the sand. And then we can also, you know, we're going to have the lights to light it up as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and untape them now. We can start putting this together. This is really easy to do, and it looks completely different than the other ones that I've done before. I've made a gingerbread house one for Christmas. I've made Scandinavian ones for Christmas too that were really pretty. So we're just going to go ahead and unwind these lights. You don't get a lot of lights, but enough for a bottle this size. And then I'm going to start just putting those down inside the bottle. And then I can put my little tree down inside. Now I did that, and then I was like, you know what? I don't think it's quite thick enough. I think I actually need 2 branches to make it look thicker, to kind of make it more like a tree. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and trim down another one. And then I'm going to put them kind of together as one larger piece, and that definitely helped fill it up a little bit more. And then we can kind of scatter the lights out on each side. So I just kind of wired them to each other so I kind of put them all in there together. It's a little tricky trying to get them to stand up in the sand exactly where you want, when you can really only access it from the top. But anytime you're going to add like something kind of squishy like greenery, you can definitely put it down inside the bottle. I used a skewer to help me kind of get it exactly where I wanted. And then I can finish putting in my little LED lights, kind of wrapping them around the sides and putting my white cork in the top of the bottle. It's looking super wintry. It's kind of like a snow globe too, because you can kind of shake it with the white sand in there. And then I decided I want a little snow on this one as well. I probably should have done this before I put it all together, but oh well. I'm going to take some more school glue, and I want to just put that along the sides, kind of dripping down into like little icicles to make it look extra frosty and wintry here at the top. A little bit lower in some areas than others, just to kind of make it look random. And then I can just put that down into the Epsom salt again, giving it a nice snowy touch on the top of the bottle as well. So we've got snow inside it, we've got the snowy tree, we've got snow on the bottle, and then we have the white cork. I thought about frosting this bottle with my frosting spray, but I wasn't sure if the lights would really light up through the frosting, but it's worth a try. I might have to try that on one of my other ones. So this is how it turned out. I think it's looking really cool. I went ahead and sprayed it with a little bit more of that spray adhesive to make that snow look extra crunchy there at the top and make sure that it's going to stay in place. And I love that little switch to turn the lights on and off is on the very back of that cork. And I'm kind of glad that I painted the cork because it made it blend in with the white snow that we added to the top. And then we have our little snowy tree inside, and we also have the lights. We have the white sand for snow as well. And this is how it looks all lit up. Isn't that so cozy and fun? Okay, you ready for another snowman? I told you I love snowman. I got this little tinsel snowman from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to take it apart, and then I'm going to remove all of this tinsel because I can't stand it. And I want to make a coastal snowman. This one's going to be a lot different than the reform that we made before, though. This one's probably my favorite. Oh, man, I really love how this one turned out. So I took all three parts apart, and as you can see, I'm just removing all of the ribbon, all of the tinsel, even the eyes and the hat. And then we are going to use some of this white nautical rope, the 6 foot. You could probably use the longer one as well. You're just going to have to wrap it around a little bit more, but I want to cover all the snowman with it, starting in the center of each segment. So I just hot glue that to the center, and then we are just going to spiral that around to make a big circle of rope for this part of the snowman. It turned out really well. And just kind of snake that around. If I do have some cage, I do glue that to it, as you can see. Otherwise, I'm just wrapping it in a circle until it's going to be large enough to cover all of that plastic cage. And I love the way this looks. I think it's so pretty. This would actually be really cute on a door as well. I actually have it hanging in my entryway. I kind of have like a wall that kind of, how do I explain it? It's kind of a diagonal wall, and it like looks perfectly there. Again, against my brown wall. Now you can kind of see these tabs on the side, so I'm just going to trim those off. I don't want you to be able to see anything except for rope. So that was the largest segment. That's like the bottom of the snowman. This part is going to be the middle part of the snowman. And I kind of have to be creative where I start gluing that down because it didn't really have a center. But again, just gluing wherever I have the cage. Not really gluing it to itself. I'm just kind of gluing it down to the cage. And then just again, trimming off all of those little peg pieces that were sticking out that were holding the tinsel on there before. But leaving the little hooks on there because I want to be able to hook it back together. Now for the head, we're going to do kind of the same thing. We don't have a full circle, but we do have like a center part here where I can start with the spiral. And again, just gluing it to the cage. I had so much fun decorating this. It turns out so cute. And trying to keep this as symmetrical as I can because I did kind of have to start not exactly on the center there, but kind of hide this part up underneath the hat. And again, I'm going to use some of that baby blanket from the Dollar Tree, the little baby blue blanket. I love this. And I'm just going to cut out a little piece for the hat, double layer it up, use the seam for the top, just like I did on the snowman wreath form. Easy peasy. And just attaching that with hot glue, overlapping a little bit of the snowman's head. And then again, I'm going to use just the seam part and cut a strip, double it up, and make a brim for the hat. It's super easy to cut and does not fray, but you do have to make sure that you get it even there. Glue it to itself, and then I can glue the top part of the hat on here. And if you didn't want to do blue, you know, this would look really cute with burlap or black even, a traditional snowman hat. All right, now it's time to think about decorating the face. I'm going to use seashells. So I got some of these little teeny tiny seashells from the Dollar Tree. I used 2 bigger ones for the eyes, and then 5 tiny ones for the mouth of the snowman. And my favorite is I used one of the little spiral seashells from the Dollar Tree for the nose sticking out. It looks just like a carrot. If you wanted these to be, you know, colored, you could always paint them as well. I kind of wanted the authentic shell feel, so I'm just kind of leaving them all natural. I did kind of pick out kind of matching colors, though, to themselves. And then for the little buttons to go down the front of the snowman, I thought I would just go ahead and use some seashells as well. And I'm going to go all the way down just for fun. Now I got to just put it back together. I left the little hooks on here so that I could hook it back together. That part's important when you start trimming it, is that you leave that intact. And then I'm just going to use some twine to make a new hanger for the little circle that I left on the top as well. Then it's going to need a little scarf for our snowman as well. So I'm just going to cut a strip like I did before on the snowman wreath for a quick little scarf. And we're just going to kind of tie that around his neck. He kind of has a skinny neck, but that's okay. We can kind of make it work. So cute. Isn't he lovely? I love him. Now he's going to need some snowman arms. So I'm going to use some of this wired from the Dollar Tree and cut 2 long pieces for arms and 2 shorter pieces for hands. Just twisting those around. You got to kind of be careful. That twine likes to come off the wire. I always cut mine a little longer if I need to work with it a little bit because I know I'm probably going to have to trim it down. Then I'm just going to attach the arms with hot glue onto the back of this rope part of the snowman. And that's all there is to it. We have a coastal rope snowman for winter. I think he's so sweet. I think the shell for the nose is my absolute favorite. What do you guys think about this guy? He's actually held up really well. I try to put him out every winter. He's so cute. I love DIYing with those ropes from the Dollar Tree for sure. And I think it's just a really fun snowman. Okay, so let's try a different variety. I thought I really love that one, but I wanted to try like a different size, different shape ornament with different colors to see if we like this one better. So again, I'm using one of those wood rounds from the Dollar Tree, and we're just going to pop the hanger off. For this one, I wanted to stain it. I'm going to use Antique Wax by Waverly, but I don't want it to be too dark. I kind of want it to look more like driftwood. So I'm going to mix like Antique Wax by Waverly with some water to kind of give myself a more thin stain. And going to go all over the wood round with that, with just a thin coat of that. Just kind of working quickly because I don't want it to dry. Once I get it all on there, I'm going to wipe off all of the excess Antique Wax by Waverly with a baby wipe, and hopefully we'll have a very light stain here. Now this did make the board really wet because I watered it down, of course. So I did have to dry this for a little bit, but look at that beautiful wood grain and that Dollar Tree sign. Sweet. I love it. And you could distress it a little bit more if you wanted it to look a little bit more coastal beachy driftwood. But I kind of wanted to see what the snowflake would look like on like a wood background. So again, we're just going to reattach the hanger that came with the wood round. I love these. They're so ready to work with.
And then for this one, we're going to use the same ornaments, the little tree ornaments, but this time we're going to do a 6-sided snowflake to see how that looks. Again, I'm just popping off the little trunks on all 6 ornaments, and we can start lining this one up. I got the idea to do the different like 6 and 8, because like the MDF snowflakes from the Dollar Tree that I have are different. There's like a 6 one, there's like an 8 one. So this one's not quite as busy. It's a different shape, but I like it. I think it's gonna look cool. So just kind of figuring out where everything needs to be on here, and then we can put this little snowflake together as well. Again, a little sand dollar from the Dollar Tree, a little bit gray, so we're just going to paint that one again. I'm going to do the same exact thing that I did on the first one. Going to do a couple coats of white acrylic, and then we're going to finish it off with some glossy Mod Podge to make it sparkle. Hey guys, I would love to thank you guys for being here today and watching this video. I appreciate y'all so much. And don't forget to hit that like button. And when you're done watching, comment your favorite DIY below. I did not number them today, but I'm sure you can remember what your favorites are. I would love to hear it, or you can just come say hi. I love reading all your all's comments below. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. So again, I just glued all of those little ornaments down in the middle using the hanger part, and then gluing all around the edges of the sand dollar. We are going to glue that one down as well. And I can't decide which one I like better. Which one do you guys like better? The 8-sided on the blue or the 6-sided on the wood? I think they're both beautiful in their own way. I can't really decide. In the hanger, again, I think it's kind of boring. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the first one. I'm just going to take some of that ribbon from the Dollar Tree that kind of looks like fishnet, and we're just going to simply tie that to the top with some twine. I have these hanging together right now on the side of my cabinet, but I think that I will move them around, kind of see where I want. I don't really want this one to be on my walls because my walls are brown. I think it'll kind of blend in. Maybe that would be cool though. But this is how this one turned out.
You'll have to let me know which one you like better. I think I like the one with the blue background better. I know, a big shocker. I love blue anything. It's like always been my favorite color ever since I was a little kid and way before I even lived at the beach. Now this next DIY is I got one of these little Let It Snow sled signs from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint over the sled part because I kind of want to do my own thing there. I'm going to leave the Let It Snow on there, even though you know I don't want it to snow. But I used this Caribbean blue paint. It really kind of matched the color that was on the Let It Snow part. Kind of going over enough times to cover up the pattern that was on there. Now I kind of wanted to make it look like sand on the bottom. I'm just using some chalk paint. I think this was the color cashew, and I'm just going to kind of make that look, you know, kind of all beachy like here at the bottom. Lots of curves. You could also glue on sand. That would be really cute for this. I kind of wish that I had when I was looking at it. And I kind of want to do a snowman on there like it was before, but I want to do like a beachy snowman. I'm going to kind of, you know, just do a little ivory here, a little sea foam, kind of do some white caps because this is going to be my ocean scene, if you catch my drift. Kind of make this sled our own for coastal winter. And I made this for the side of my cabinets in my kitchen. I think it turned out really fun. Of course, with my ocean, I kind of want some different shades of blue, so I do like just kind of pick some different colors that I had. I think this is lagoon maybe, and just doing some little bit of different shading in the ocean. No big deal. And then I got one of these little wood snowmen from the Dollar Tree, and I thought that could be our snowman. So I'm going to go all over him with just some ivory paint. Then wipe off the excess paint because I still kind of want to see the details of the snowman down there so that I can decorate this guy. I'm going to attach him to our sled with a little hot glue, kind of like sitting on the beach, adding some waves. And kind of distressing him a little bit too. I want him to kind of look like a coastal beachy snowman for this little sled. Now I'm just going to use some paint pens and we can kind of decorate this little guy. You can kind of see, the print that was below there with all the details, like the little scarf I'm going to do in this like soft minty green. And I'm also going to do the hat in that color as well to make him look nice and coastal. I love staining or painting these little wood signs from the Dollar Tree. I always throw away the markers if they come with them and just kind of do my own thing. And I'm just going to use a blue marker to draw on the eyes, the mouth, the buttons. He's holding a little bird in his hand, which we can have a little blue, shorebird, right? Kind of color him in. And I'm going to do an orange Sharpie for the little carrot nose. And then I thought I kind of needed to outline them, so I'm just using a blue permanent marker. I think I got this at the Dollar Tree. And I am going all around the edges where I can still see the details of the snowman and kind of coloring that back in. I'm going to distress that bird a little bit to make it look a little bit beachier. And kind of outline him in that like softer blue color. I'm also going to distress where it says let it snow to kind of make it, vibe more with everything else. And I don't want it to let it snow, right? So I'm just going to use this is a white chalk marker from the Dollar Tree. I tried that first. Just because I kind of wanted, a really light, powdery looking. And I just freehand that on in cursive somewhere else. I didn't think it was enough though, so I am going over it with a white paint pen. But that gave me a nice starting place to start with. And just freehand that on there. Easy peasy. That was kind of cursive on the top, so it kind of goes together. And being a perfectionist, I'm going over it one more time until I'm totally happy with it. I know I've got some other perfectionists out there. It's one reason I probably don't sell my crafts is because I don't think a craft would ever be perfect enough for me to want to sell it to somebody, because I would think that, oh, I messed up that little tiny bit there. But when I make stuff for myself or my friends and family, I don't really mind. So I just sealed that on there. I'm going to go over the wood part of the sleigh too and just distress that a little bit to make it look a little bit more coastal with just a lighter color of brown. Just to lighten that up a little bit. And as you can see, I left the hanger on there, so I don't really need to replace that at all. And it wasn't in my way. And then since it's at the beach, I thought, we have to have some seashells. So I'm just going to use some seashells from the Dollar Tree, just trying to pick out what I think is going to look good, some different colors and variety, and we're just going to attach those to the sled with some hot glue. This was a really fun DIY to put together. It's not super professional. If you wanted it to be a little bit more professional, you could use your Cricut to make some vinyl for somewhere else or to make a stencil, but I was just having some fun with this project for real. Kind of distressing it a little bit more. And there it is, our little let it snow somewhere else. I thought a bow would be cute here at the top, so I'm using some of that Dollar Tree Snowflake ribbon. And I'm just going to tie a simple bow up here, just for another little dose of blue and a few snowflakes to go with the Let It Snow theme. Because we've added a lot of beach to it. And this is how it turned out. This is how it looks on the side of my kitchen cabinet. Super whimsical and fun. Again, not wanting any snow here. No thank you. I think I'm safe. I think one time, like over 50 years ago, there was like a light snow flurry here, and people here still talk about it.
Okay, next DIY. I wanted to make some fun little stocking hats, is what I call them. I think a lot of people call them beanies, little winter hats. But I wanted to do it with like a coastal feel. So, using one of these wood ovals that I got at the Crafter Square at Dollar Tree, I am just going to measure half, and what I'm going to do is just cut it in half with my saw. That way I have two of them, and I think they kind of look like a beanie shape. So, we're going to make a couple of little stocking hats. Now, these are the little microfiber washcloths from the Dollar Tree. They're this beautiful, like minty green blue color. I think that's really coastal and beachy looking. And they're nice and fuzzy. They're that microfiber. I thought we could cover one of these with that to be the stocking hat material. And they fit, like this little shape fits nicely, like in just 1/4. I'm just going to use a chalk marker to kind of draw that on there so I'll know where to cut. And I kind of want to cut it a little bit bigger than it so that I can wrap the sides around. It's not a very thick piece, but there are a little bit of sides on that little wood block. So I just cut that out. I kind of want to do the fuzzy side up on this one to make it look super cozy. And I'm going to go ahead and cut off the bottom as well. And I do plan to do like a little, the brim of the hat. Is that what it's called with stocking hats? I'm not sure. But I'm going to go through and do Mod Podge, just regular matte Mod Podge. I do 2 layers because I want it to be nice and thick so it'll stick to this material. I did not want to use hot glue because I didn't want the hot glue to soak through the fabric and be visible in the final project. So I got it glued to the front, and now I'm just going to glue it around to the sides. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but like from the sides and the top, I want it to kind of look like it is covered with that fabric as well. I saw so many cute ideas for these, but I thought we could do our own spin on these and try to make a coastal version. So that's why I'm using these coastal colors. Now, this is a bath mat from the Dollar Tree, but I thought this like tan shaggy material might be good for a hat. And so I am just going to kind of measure out a little strip of it for the brim of the little stocking hat like that. And I just have to cut out a little strip. So I'm not going to measure. I'm just kind of eyeballing it about how big of a strip I would want. And just cutting that out. It does shed a little bit when you cut it, so just get any of the loose pieces off. And I'm going to kind of do the seam on the bottom where you won't be able to see it, because I want it to look shaggy, and cut that down to size. Now this is nice and thick. I think I can glue this on with hot glue without any of that glue coming through and be visible on the final project. So I glue that down. I glue the bottom to the bottom of the stocking hat. And then I'm going to glue the sides, just trimming them up a little bit. And that one was already glued down, so we are good to go on that. Now I wanted to decorate it with something coastal, so I thought I would use, these are those little craft board cutouts from the Crafter Square at the Dollar Tree, and I picked out some ocean ones here. I think I'm going to do a sea turtle on this one. These are not made out of wood, they're made out of like, it's kind of like a cardboard material. And I think that's going to be really cute on there with one of these little pom-poms for the top. So I kind of want to go with a blue and white theme. So I'm just using a makeup sponge and carefully painting that little sea turtle white. They are not really, made out of wood. So you kind of have to be careful when you're painting them. They are delicate and I don't want this to fall apart. So I got that painted white, and the little pom-pom, I'm going to put that on the top, and that's just something I had left over from the Target Dollar Spot. You could always make your own out of yarn. I actually got some pom-pom makers at the Dollar Tree the other day. I need to try them out. I'm just going to cut the yarn hanger that was off on there, and then we can start putting this little guy together. So the first thing I'm going to do is just hot glue the little sea turtle just kind of over here on the left. I thought that would be a cute little touch. And then I want it to stand up, so I'm going to use 2 of those little Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree and just glue those together and then glue that to the back. This would be really cute on your shelf, on a tier tray, so many uses for these. And then I'm going to glue the pom-pom to the top with just some hot glue and then sticking that down on there. I think this looks so cozy and cute. I love the subtle coastal vibes with the sea turtle and the beachy colors. I think it's so pretty, and this is how it turned out. You can see that microfiber material looks nice and fuzzy, and so does the bath mat material. I think it's really fun.
So just a little stocking hat sign DIY. This would be really cute, like on a winter tier tray or something like that. I just put it on one of my shelves for winter, and it's a fun after Christmas DIY.
Okay, so we have the second half, so let's try to make another one. This one I thought we could use some of this white nautical rope from the Dollar Tree and wrap it around like a rope one, but I want like a thin rope. So what I'm going to do is separate this into thirds. We end up using like 1.5 of the 3 pieces once I get it unwound. And this is like the 6-foot rope, I think. I'm going to start at the top with just a little dot of hot glue and put one of those strands of rope on there. It's a little curly, but it's okay. We're going to wind it around. It's going to kind of straighten it out a little bit. So hot glue just on the first round to get it started, and then the first row, and then we're going to just wrap this around. I'm just trying to kind of push and wrap it as tightly as I can. Kind of give like a rope wrapped look there. Unfortunately, my rope was not long enough, and so I'm going to glue that to the back, and then I'm just going to have to start a new one. And that's going to be on the back, so it won't be real visible anyway. And I'm just going to work around a little bit more. I'm not going to go all the way down, though. I'm going to go to right about there and then hot glue that to the back after trimming it. Now, again, we're going to use some more of those microfiber washcloths. This time, I thought I would use it for the brim of the hat. That way, both the hats are going to coordinate together really well. I can display them together, and they're going to look nice together. But I'm going to cut out a bigger piece than I need because this is a lot thinner than the bath mat. So I thought we could like quadruple it up maybe. So I'm just cutting like a little rectangular size, cutting the seams off both sides. I'm going to leave the seam on one side, that's fine. And then I'm just going to fold it, fold it, fold it until I get a nice thick piece of fuzzy microfiber for the hat. And then I'm going to hot glue it together. I've got so many layers, you're not going to be able to see that through it. And then I'm going to hot glue that on to our little rope hat. I can't decide which one I like on these either. I love them both. They're so cute. I think they're really cute together. And then I'm just going to glue the sides to themselves and then to the hat. And again, I thought we use one of these little sea creature craft board. This time I'm going to use the little seahorse one. I think he's so cute. Now be careful before you glue him on. Sometimes you have to pop out some of the pieces that are still in there. I'm going to kind of hot glue him over to the side. Not going to paint him. I'm going to leave him that nice brown color. I think it's going to be a cute contrast to the hat. And then again, I'm going to use 2 of the Jenga blocks. This one I'm going to have to attach a little bit differently to the back. I'm just going to glue them kind of end to end. And then glue that on to the wood on the back of the beanie. I kind of like calling them a beanie, but we usually call them stocking hats in our house. My son just actually had to buy one when we were going to West Virginia because we had nothing. We were going to be frozen. So again, I have another one of those pom-poms from the Target dollar spot, and we're going to hot glue that to the top of our little stocking hat. I think these look so coastal and fun. I love the little beachy touches as well. The little sea creatures are so cute. Isn't it adorable? And I really like how the rope turned out. I think it looks really nice for a coastal touch. And it kind of looks like, like a sweater material. And this is the final result. Our little seahorse beanie.
I can't decide which one I like better. I kind of like pairing them in a similar location so they can kind of work together, the contrasting colors. But either option I think is a really fun little winter DIY for you. Up next, I'm going to be doing a Ski Lodge winter tier tray. I made this one for Christmas, but easily modified just for winter. The first filler we're going to have here is just some pine cones that I got at Target Dollar Spot for $3 and some Dollar Tree greenery. Dollar Tree does have pine cones too. I thought that'd make great filler. And we're going to be doing my large metal 3-tier tray for this like ski lodge theme. Now, I got these tier tray starter kits at Dollar Tree, but not this year. But I still kind of wanted to show these to you because I used a lot of them on this tier tray to kind of give you some ideas. Ornaments work really great for some of the stuff too. Like the first thing we're going to be using from that is the skis. And I know for a fact they have like little ski ornaments like that at the Dollar Tree and at the Dollar Spot right now. And so we're going to use those first set of skis. We're going to glue them together crisscross. And then I'm going to attach that to some Dollar Tree wood beads, do a little custom winter wood bead garland for our tier tray. Couldn't be any easier. We just hot glue that all together. Then I'm going to DIY my own tassel by taking some Dollar Tree twine, wrapping it around my hand a bunch of times. Then I just go in and tie that off. And then I can use that to tie it to the wood bead garland from Dollar Tree. Once you get it all on there, you can wrap it and cut it and give it that classic tassel shape. So I cut mine first, and then I grab some more of the twine that we can just tie here to the top, and then we can just do the very top by wrapping it around. Making a tassel is really not that hard. It's just a little bit of wrapping, tying, cutting, and I'm just going to tie that off like that. Easy peasy. I'm just going to leave the wood beads like natural wood color. I think that's going to be fine for like a ski lodge thing, but little custom skis. And these are kind of super long. They're a little bit longer than the ones that they have at the Dollar Tree anymore. And a little bit smaller, I think. And I just kind of drape that on top of the greenery that I put there on the top tier. I have lots of room on the top tier, so I'm going to be doing some larger pieces up there. Now, these are some plastic deer antlers, and I actually got these off of a Wreath from the thrift store. I kind of took it all apart because I wanted the antlers. So I'm going to clean those up a little bit, but I thought these would be perfect for like a ski lodge feel. So I'm just going to kind of lay an antler there just in the bottom of the tier tray. And we can use the rest of those later on the tier tray as well. They're super cute. And a few of those pine cones that we got for filler to kind of fill in the back of the tier tray. And then we're going to do a big item for the top. These were from the Target Dollar Spot. The skis for $5. I'm not sure if they have them this year. My Dollar Spot does not have a very good selection right now, so it's kind of hard to tell. But I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree Buffalo Check ribbon, and that is going to kind of be the theme, the black and white buffalo check for this. I thought that'd be perfect for the ski lodge. And I am just putting it together in a bow. I just pinched it, did a loop on both sides, repeated that. We're going to do it a total of 3 times. I have plenty of ribbon there on that roll from the Dollar Tree, and then cut off another tail. Super way to make it real big, easy, puffy bow. I'm going to keep it cinched and use a little zip tie to bring it all together, and we have a big, giant bow. You can kind of pull your tails down, reshape all of your little bow loops, and I thought that'd be really cute attached to the skis. So once I got my tails pulled down, I'm just going to dovetail those and fluff my bow out. And then I'm going to attach that to the front. I thought that would be a really nice statement piece. I know that the skis are meant to hang on the wall, but when you're working with the top of a tier tray, and I had plenty of room above this, you can definitely do something big like this. So I just take some twine and wrap that around the bow,
tying that off so that then I can use that twine to tie it to the middle of the skis. And as you can see, those were $5 at the Target dollar spot. I got these a couple of years ago, but I know they had them again last year at the Target dollar spot, these little skis. I always save these and a couple items from this tier tray because I love to use them for winter decor. They are perfect. So we're just going to pop the skis up here at the top. They're kind of so big that you can't even see them. This is another one of the little tier tray decor prop packs they have from the Target dollar spot that I used. And this had like a little stay cozy, a little directional sign, and like a little chunky snowflake. The great things about these is they're ready to go for a tier tray. You can use them as pieces to like just go directly on there, or you can DIY them. And I was able to find lots of them for this theme today. But you can probably find some comparable products at the Dollar Tree, like the snowflake and stuff like that. I know for a fact you can get those like at the Target dollar spot, like as ornaments and stuff like that. But this one might be a little bit chunkier. I'm going to put that right there on the top in front of the skis, but I was afraid that you couldn't see it too well. So I'm just going to use a little Jenga block from Five Below to prop that up so you can see it a little bit better. And there's the top of the skis way up there. And I think that looks really good for the top of the tier tray. Now, I got these little knit stockings. They're like ivory knit stockings for $1 a piece, actually at Dollar General. So they're cheaper than the Dollar Tree. They have like greenery and pine cones sticking out of them. And I thought these would be perfect. Now, they already, these are kind of the Christmas items that I was telling you that you could remove to make it still wintry all year long. But I guess they're not super Christmassy. But I'm going to make like little stockings for my family using the little wood letters from the Dollar Tree. I just did like our first initial for each little stocking. I thought that'd be a fun little touch. And I want them to be like more of a warm wood color than that raw wood. And so I'm just going to use little Antique Wax by Waverly, and we're going to do a quick little stain here on all of those letters, and then we can just label each one of the little stockings. And I'm going to actually hang these on the side of the tier tray, dangling off the edges. And then after Christmas, I can totally just take the stockings down. It still looks super wintry for the rest of the season. Once I got those stained, I'm just going to hot glue those on the front. Aren't those little knit stockings just the cutest? I love DIYing and decorating with ornaments. You can find some really cute starter items like this that you can add like a little decorative touch to. And this is how it looks hanging. I just attached it with a dot of hot glue on the little ornament string on the inside of my tier tray on my second tier. And then I'm going to go ahead with some more of the Dollar Tree greenery to kind of fill in the space there on the tier tray. And then I'm staining a Dollar Tree wood sled. Doesn't really matter which one. I know they have several different kinds. I just went over it with some Antique Wax by Waverly, kind of wiping off the excess with a baby wipe so it's not so dark. I kind of just really want that warm stained look, and I didn't really want that raw wood. So I think these look really great when you stain them. I think this is the first time that I've actually stained one of these little sleds. Just kind of wiping off all of the excess antique wax. And then we can decorate it with that black and white buffalo check theme by using a little bit of Dollar Tree ribbon. I'm just going to tie it on the little handle and a little bow there just to give it a little black and white touch to decorate this piece for the tier tray. And I think a sled is a perfect thing to put on a little winter themed tier tray and perfect for like a ski lodge kind of feel. I have a little tiny pine cone. I was trying to find like the smallest one I had to attach here. And I'm just going to glue that on my little sleigh. And then I thought maybe I could even bring in a little bit of greenery on that sled by cutting off some of the Dollar Tree greenery and kind of just arranging that around the pine cone and the bow up there just to kind of give it a little sprig of greenery. That was one of the wired pieces from Dollar Tree, so I could kind of just wrap it around like that, and it's definitely going to stay in place. And I think that looks really cute
for the tier tray, we can kind of just lay this in here. I kind of lay mine on my side so you can really kind of see it, kind of stand it up using the side of my tier tray. Don't want it hanging up too much, but a little bit. Now for the next DIY, we're going to use a little Dollar Tree like house shape and some of the Dollar Tree removable wallpaper to cover the back of it to kind of give me a lodge feel. And we can use some of that Target dollar spot signs and stuff like that inside. So I kind of sketch out how big the house is on the back of the wallpaper. We're going to try to cut this down to size without removing the back from the little house if we can. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that down with scissors and then cut it down smaller on each side to account for the frame. And I did go in there and kind of lightly distress the front of that house frame where it's like MDF there to make it look super cozy. And it's just a matter of trimming that house down to the perfect size, and then we can cover up like the stripes that were in there before with this like kind of wood look. I thought that looked good. And then I am going to have to kind of touch up the edges a little bit. You can see a tiny bit of the paper peeking through. And I just kind of did that with a little bit of ivory paint that I used there to distress the rest of the house. And it's kind of a white wood background, something really cozy. And we're adding the little Stay Cozy sign from that Target Dollar Spot kit. I don't really want to have to cover up the holes, so I just kind of knotted them to leave the knots kind of in there, add a little character, and we can kind of make it like look like a little shadow box effect. And I'm doing that by gluing down a Dollar Tree Jenga block and then gluing the little sign to that. That way it has kind of room for the rope behind it, kind of makes it a little bit more 3D vibe. And I thought this would be perfect for the winter ski lodge theme. Our little Stay Cozy little house or cabin. And it's a pretty tall piece, so I'm going to kind of put that on the back of the second tier, kind of peeking out to the side. Now, the next DIY, I picked up 2 of these Christmas ornaments from the Dollar Tree. They're perfect because they're little ice skates, and they have the black and white plaid. They have greenery, pine cones, and berries sticking out of the front. I just take them both together, take some twine, tie the 2 ornament hangers together. That way you have a set of little ice skates. And I thought these would be perfect for the tier tray. I didn't have to do hardly anything to them, just tie them together. And they're so cute. I'm going to put them right here in the front. They are the perfect size for the middle tier there. And then this is actually a toy reindeer that I got at the Target Dollar Spot. And it kind of looks like a toy, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a makeover just with some paint to kind of make it like a little less colorful. To try to make it look like more like a little decorative piece and less like a toy. But I love crafting with toys. I always do that from the Dollar Tree as well. And I'm just going over with this light brown color just to kind of give it kind of a more uniform look. You could kind of leave it as is, but I thought that would kind of make it look a little bit better. And I'm going to pair that little reindeer with the little reindeer crossing sign that you see there from that starter pack that I got at the Dollar Spot. And that really gave me a lot of inspiration for the theme of this tier tray. I also did a Ski Lodge coffee bar that is very similar to this kind of style too. You'll have to check out if that's kind of your vibe for winter decor. I'm going to pair those together right here. I have just enough room for the reindeer, the little reindeer crossing sign right next to them. And we have a really nice filled in tier there for the tier tray, but we still have one more tier of that to decorate. So I'm just going to kind of fill in any extra spaces with a little bit of filler to make sure everything's full, and I'm just using a little bit of pine cones for that. Now we're down here at the bottom, our biggest tier, and I'm just going to go ahead and put some greenery down there. And this was the other item I found for $5 at the Target Dollar Spot, a little set of snowshoes that were so cute. And I know that they've had these the last 2 years at Target Dollar Spot, but again, I don't know if they have them again this year. But I love them, and I still have them because I use them every year for decorating for winter. They're perfect. I'm just going to kind of prop mine up here in the back where you can kind of see them. They're nice and tall. It's going to fill up kind of the back of the tier tray. And then I'm going to make another Dollar Tree DIY. I got this little black and white plaid sign from the Dollar Tree, and I thought the background was perfect, and we could add some of those little tier tray starter kit items to kind of give it a custom vibe. I didn't really like the look of the foam pieces they used to bump it out though, so I'm going to replace those with a little Dollar Tree Jenga block. And I want to make like a little ski lift sign using one of the little ski lift ornaments that was in that tier tray starter kit. I think you could probably get this as a Christmas ornament too. I think I've seen them before. At Target at least. I'm not sure about Dollar Tree. Maybe. I'm just going to prop mine up there for a second while that dries. And then I'm going to label it with just some of the little Dollar Tree Scrabble pieces. And I thought we could just spell out a word to the side of it. Lift, I thought would be really cute for like a little ski lift. And just going down the side of our sign, the black and white plaid is perfect. The black frame of that sign was perfect, which is why I picked this one up. And we're just going to kind of glue this down. Kind of follows the pattern of the plaid. And I thought that little ski lift was so cute. Super easy little DIY. So sometimes those little tier tray starter kits, you know, you can even use them in your DIYs like this instead of just leaving them alone. Then I thought maybe, you know, a little greenery would be cute too. So this is some of that wired greenery from Dollar Tree. I'm just going to glue a couple pieces over here on the side just for a little bit of decor. Trying to give it that super cozy ski lodge vibe. And then I got some of these little tiny pine cones at Dollar Tree, and I just glue one on there as well. I think that is just about perfect, and we can put this down here on the tier tray. I'm going to put it right here in front. Super cute, and I told you they had a lot of these at the Target dollar spot. This is the other one. This one had like a little pile of logs. It had a little miniature sled, and it also had like a little reindeer. And I'm going to use all of those as well. They're perfect for the theme. I'm actually going to put the reindeer like on the sleigh. And then we can also use like the little pile of like birch logs that are all strung together. Aren't those so cute? And they're all going to go perfect with my theme. So I put the logs like right over here to the side of the lift. And this was the little ski lodge sign that we had from the other tier tray starter kit. It says ski lodge, sleigh rides, hot cocoa on there. And then I actually got this little piece of log for 99 cents at Goodwill. And I thought that was perfect and rustic as well. Just a little decorative piece. And I'm going to put that over to the side and fill it out with like another little antler over here on the side. And if I have any extra spots, I'm just going to pop a pine cone in there. And I really think that all these pieces really went well together, mixing some Dollar Tree DIYs with those fun dollar spot finds. So that's a little sled and little deer I put over there on the side. Kind of hard to see from the front of the tier tray. But let me give you a little look around our little ski lodge theme. And yes, originally I did make this for Christmas, but it was really easy to modify this and make it last all winter. All I did was remove the little stockings hanging there on front, and it has a perfect winter vibe, but those are pretty neutral colors too, and I really wouldn't mind those for all winter too. But definitely check like Target dollar spot, maybe your thrift store as well, for different like ski related items like that. Target has been my go-to in the past, but lately they've been kind of inconsistent with that kind of stuff. But there was a lot of fun things that I used from the Dollar Tree as well on this one. And now it's time for the final reveal. I really hope you enjoyed these 40 Dollar Tree winter DIYs. Let me know which one was your favorite down in the comments below, or just come say hello. You can find me at Crafty Beach on YouTube on all social media. And this is a QR code if you would like to buy me a coffee. Enjoy!
The whole world is white, there's snow everywhere from the storm last night. Winter is here, blue jays are watching the children winds play on this bright and wonderful Christmas day. It's so cold outside, we're staying in here by the fireside. I think I can hear far in the distance how sleigh bells play on this bright and wonderful Christmas day. It's a wondrously slow and golden Christmas day. When the sun gets low, you're still by my side in the afterglow and warmth from the fire. I love every moment as hours go by, holding your head in the dying light. It's so wondrously slow and golden Christmas Day.
When everything is white, glimmering silver white, and stillness fills the night, it's Christmas, a winter wonderland, a snowball in each hand. Take me away, Christmas Day. There's joy in the air, family's near. We give thanks for this past year. Oh, nothing compares to the love that we share. Oh, what a bliss, a green red delight with glimmering silver white. You dazzle us all from big to small. Warm laughter and white smiles, red presents stacked in piles. Take me away, Christmas Day. Joy in the air, family's near. We give thanks for this past year. Oh, nothing compares to the love that we share. Oh, what a bliss, a green red delight with glimmering silver white. You dazzle us all from big to small. Warm laughter and white smiles, red presents stacked in piles. Take me away, Christmas Day. Take me away, Christmas Day.
so much for making it all the way to the end of today's winter crafting marathon. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Maren Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Powell Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, James Osborne, and Lizette Thomas. Thank you for supporting my channel. I would really appreciate it if you joined our membership. You're going to get early ad-free access to my content here on YouTube. And we're almost to 50,000 subscribers, and it's almost my birthday. So that would be a great birthday present. Now, if you would like more Dollar Tree DIY inspiration, be sure to check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting.